We are expected to transform. Have you ever been to an event and it was a formal event, but somebody didn't get the memo? Or have you been the one who didn't get the memo and you go traipsing into this place and you're like, oh. And you decide whether you're going to stay or whether you're not going to stay. Or maybe you've come to an event and you were way overdressed. Everybody's in flip-flop shorts and a t-shirt and you wore your finest. I probably imagine that probably doesn't happen all that often because we tend to like to be in our casual selves, at least I know I do. So stay tuned because in a minute this is all going to make sense. From Matthew 22, 1 through 14. Once more, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his slaves to call those who had been invited to the wedding banquet, and they would not come. And again he sent others, saying, 'Tell those who have been invited, look, I prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fat calves, and I have slaughtered them, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they made light of it and went away, and one to his farm and the other one to his business. And while the rest just leaves the opportunity to take advantage of some servant people, they just ignored the invitation. And the king was enraged. He sent his troops, destroyed those murderers, and burned their cities." Sounding kind of dark, isn't it? It'll get better, I promise. Then he said to his slaves, "The wedding is ready. Those who invited were not worthy. Go therefore to the main streets and invite everyone you find to the wedding banquet." So they went out into the streets, and they gathered all who they had found, both the good and the bad, so the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came to see the guests, he noticed a man that was not wearing a wedding robe. And he said to him, "Friend, how do you get in here without a wedding robe?" And he was speechless. And the king said to all the attendants, "Bind him hand and foot and throw him into an outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen." Thank God for metaphysical interpretation, right? Because when I'm reading this, I'm like, oh God, the ick. And some of you who've been following my parables have probably sitting there going, didn't she just talk a few weeks ago about a big party? And I did. And these are the two parallels of Matthew and Luke. So when you look in your textbooks, they're like, oh, these are parallel stories. But they're not the same. The metaphysical interpretation of them is not the same. So we're going to dive in. It'll get good, I promise. So marriage here symbolizes the union of two states of consciousness. And the marriage feast is the union of humankind and Spirit of God. It is that awareness that we have that we are both fully human and both fully divine. Servants are the elemental forces of being, with a capital B, carried out for one's demands. So I look at that in this sense of these are the God sparks of energy that is in us that allows us to carry us through to what we are called to do and be. It is that beckoning of support that we receive. The wedding robe is the state of consciousness in which there is a special preparation for the union. Our external thinking must be in harmony with our inner revelation. And it reminded me of one of the things that I was gifted upon graduation was a prayer shawl. And at first I was like, oh, this is going to be cute. I wonder what outfit I'm going to get to go with it. But I might hold it not as a piece of something to wear. But when I spend my time in prayer and meditation, it is that reminder that I'm putting on this surroundingness of spirit, this surroundingness of that preparation for revealing and knowing that Spirit and I are one. It moves us from being ordinary to being extraordinary. If we go about our regular days just being only human, we limit ourselves. But when we allow ourselves to realize that we fully embody an expression of the divine, the Daily Word said today we are to be authentic in who we are. And part of authenticity is our divinity. We were created to express the love and the light of God. We are expressed to be it in this world. So to me, when I look at this, it's not enough to look at chosen in the way that it's a literal interpretation. For me, chosen is being the medium for the expression of the divine. But here's the part where it's essential for us to understand. Every human is chosen. There is not one single person on this planet that is not a child of God, period, plain and simple. But free will puts the transformation and the choosing on us. We are expected to transform. And I keep thinking of times when we're kind of not living into our spiritual maturity to where we're like, when we think of Jesus as not a way shower and just as, oh, we don't have to worry about forever because that was taken care of. And that's not the intention at all. The intention is Jesus is our way shower, and he shows us that we don't have to wait until the ever after to experience heaven. Heaven is with us right now. It is within us, and how we choose to expand and to transform and to grow into it, that's on us. So how do we do it? How do we get ourselves into that state where you're like, okay, I'm transforming. I'm not the me I used to be. I've gotten better. I'm able to not freak out when things get stressful because I know I can be anchored and centered in the Christ within me. When those amazing transformation things happen, it's life-changing, especially when we realize it. I got a text message from someone who's like a son to me. I nicknamed him Bear Cub. And I got a message from Bear Cub this week that said, it was a little colorful. Oh my God, Leslie, I'm going to edit it because he was colorful. I can't believe it, but my car's been breaking down, and I prayed. And my air conditioner works, my car goes, it's fixed. Now, there were some things that happened in between, like got a new battery thinking it was that first. He got a new tested alternator to make sure the alternator was working. Everything was working fine. And it's so interesting, the order of phone calls, because he's like, okay, I asked so-and-so, I asked so-and-so, I asked so-and-so, so Leslie, you're handy. I'm like, I can't be sometimes. It's not by choice. It's by having cars that broke down over my years, and I was able to discern some things. He's like, so what do you think it is? And I said, well, Taylor, I said, does it turn on now? Yeah. Does it go now? Yeah. I said, then I would say that when you replace the battery, it's more than likely it was a loose connection. See where I'm going with this teachable moment? How often do we have a loose connection where we're there, but we don't still ourselves long enough to fully connect, to put on the prayer shawl? So, prayer and meditation, and it's become so when something that needs prayer, earnest prayer, somebody's in distress, somebody needs healing, somebody's hurt, my life is hectic, and you get this emoji on your feed if you are a social media kind of follower person. And it's become so passive that like, okay, I'll pray for you. Prayers for you, I got you. I'll pray for you. But do you do it? For me, if something comes across my prayer feed, if I don't have enough time to write a prayer for that person in their feed, I'm not going to hit the emoji button. Because you didn't fully connect the wires. And when you don't fully connect the wires, you don't know what short circuit might be happening. That might be something with somebody else that goes, oh, and they can get I need to be a source for the answer to that prayer, because we are part of that answer process. And I'm reminded of, so interesting how I did this car analogy, and that was written before Taylor called me about the car. But we wouldn't go and sit in our car and expect it to take us somewhere just by sitting in it, would we? I mean, our imagination could take us some places, it could, but we wouldn't get to where we need to go. If our spark plugs are dirty, it might put along. You might get that sputter that you get and you're wondering, like, what in the world is going on? Is it the starter? Is it the alternator? Is it like all the things? And it could be simple. And you would put gas in it, or if you have an EV, you'd plug it in, right? So that you can go to where you need to go. And so I say, drive yourself to the happy little shop of prayer and meditation and get your spiritual oil changed. When we live life and we get all of the information that's thrown at us, we tend to get clogged by somebody else is doing something that we don't like, so therefore, I'm going to be grumpy. But when we spend that time recharging with that pureness of the divine, then we can have that opportunity to be the expression of the divine. You can't fully be the expression of the divine if we're all clogged up with muck. And that air filter. Don't forget the air filter. Those are important. Take the time to breathe. Take the time to restore. That's part of what meditation is all about. Sometimes you're sitting in meditation, you don't get the aha moment. But you needed the time to let all the things pass by the busy, busy brain, so that way, when the aha moment gently lands on your shoulder, you can go, oh, got it. Spend that time. Worship and ritual. I love me some worship and I love me some ritual. We were just mentioning this morning during a prayer time how much music can affect our vibration. And it can affect even frequencies of how a song is can affect your vibration and how you resonate and how your body responds. It's miraculous because I can't scientifically explain how it happens. So to me, it's miraculous. Somebody probably knows all the nerdy things of how it happens. I don't. It happens and it makes me happy, so that's all I got to worry about. And then the rituals of lighting a candle, doing a baptism, having a wedding, having communion, burning some sage. It's not the act of what we do that brings the spiritual transformation. It's this physical thing that we do that reminds us of the divinity that's already in us. It reconnects that wires of awareness for us. Study of sacred texts. And I say this, yes, there's a very colorful Bible there, but there are so many sacred texts out there that can bring us, and what I love to do is in my nerdy self, I love to find the parallels between the many, because there is one divine mind. One mind. And so we have the opportunity to gather some tools for us. And where do we find ourselves in these stories that are thousands of years old? In traditions, we carry stories. Stories verbally were carried before text was even a thing. And so it was these stories that give us that enlightenment to rethink and repurpose and determine how we are to go in this world. And I'm sure you're going to find a few tools. And it would have been useful if these old stories, if there was someone who told them in a way that we would get it, but there was. There were many. Jesus wasn't the only one. There were many that help us to be able to be accountable. The prophets, for one. A lot of people misunderstand the meaning of a prophet, thinking it was someone who told the future. And they kind of did, but they really were the accountability holders. King, if you keep behaving this way, this is going to happen. How many of us have told that to our children? If you keep doing this, this is going to happen. And how often did we as kids go, you're just scared, Mom. You're just this. And then as you grow up and you make the stupid mistakes, and then you know that your parents might have been prophets in kind of a way. Jesus was an accountability holder. All of his parables and all of his stories are ways to hold us accountable, not for anything that we do that brings us in error, because I don't like the you're a sinner approach, because that's not what it's about. It's not about that, because you could be squeaky clean and not be aware of your oneness with God. So it's not about doing good things or bad things. It is about being aware that we have the ability to fully connect and fully transform. Mindfulness and awareness. Similar to prayer and meditation is one of the ways to be mindful, but this can be different also. And to me, there's something sacred about being present, being fully present to experience something. I love it when we go and have the opportunity to be with friends, and we all have that ability to know we're going to put our cell phones down and we're going to really enjoy each other's company. Because used to, there wasn't that distraction. Like occasionally, the phone on the wall would ring. And if you really didn't want to be in it, then you took the extension cord and you stretched it as far as it could possibly go so that you could do all the things. Anybody millennial and up will remember that. But to be fully present is such a sacred moment. So I encourage you to unplug. Turn off the TV. Put your phone down. Turn off the computer or the tablet. And take the time, because when was the last time that you listened? Not to receive data, not to understand someone in a conversation, but just to listen. To hear the wonderful sounds of play. To hear the wonderful humming of an air conditioner unit. To hear the breath of our neighbor breathing in and out. When was the last time you took off your shoes? Y'all, I left them on this reason for purpose. Usually I like to preach barefooted because I like to feel that connection, as close as I can get to earth with a foundation being under me and a platform. But when was the last time you walked outside barefooted and felt the grass tickle your feet? When was the last time you jumped in a mud puddle? When was the last time you just stepped into a mud puddle? When was the last time you stood and really felt the sand between your toes? When was the last time you felt grounded? When was the last time you truly tasted your food? In one of the trips with Bear Cub, we ate lunch on the way over here. And I swallowed, and I felt a poke on the back of my throat. And I'm like, oh, good God, what was that? Like, what did they accidentally put in my food? I didn't fully chew my French fries. And the tip of it poked the back of my throat. And it made me realize how hurried we've become, that we don't even fully chew our food before we gulp it down to get the next thing. A hamburger and French fries might not be the thing you want to mindfully bring that awareness to, or maybe the hot dogs. Although I do love me some hot dogs. But the next time you're eating something that you typically enjoy, like one of your favorite things, savor it and be fully present with what your body is experiencing. And then, if you want to get even more curious, how does my life reflect the sweetness of this chocolate? How does my life reflect the smoothness of this ice cream? Where in my life, if I'm eating Rocky Road, does it get a little bumpy? Are there marshmallows to cushion my way? I might take a little bit longer with that pint of ice cream. I might even eat the whole pint. But savor it. Savor the flavor of life in general by mindfulness and awareness. Because I think if more people did it, our world on the outside would look a lot differently than it does today. And with that, I go to the affirmation that I started when we picked the word transform for the year. So we say this 3 times. We say it 3 times because the first time we're like, oh yeah, there's a thing, I need to say it. The next time you go, oh, I'm kind of connecting to it. And the third time you start to feel it. In God's great abundance, I grow and transform. In God's great abundance, I grow and transform. In God's great abundance, I grow and transform. And I love the way that I get to watch you guys and myself transform. Shine on, y'all.